morning, Mochismo Eugene. Welcome to another video from Access Strategy. Please like, subscribe, share, give a thumbs up to this video if you find it helpful, and pass it on if you believe someone else will benefit from it. I'd appreciate that. Saturday morning, I'm heading to Connecticut to the funeral of Xavier Williams. I was up in the air when I was going to go because didn't get much rest last night. I don't know why. I was thinking about this funeral, and I went to bed kind of late. I think I only got 5 hours sleep, but it's only a 3-hour drive each way, so I've been tired and other things, so I think this is well worth it. I would like to be there and continue to grieve with this family and the loved ones in this occasion. So I want to talk about, since I got a little time on the drive, authentic truth versus orchestrated lies. Authentic truth versus orchestrated lies. You know, we grew up, Empaths, Chosen Ones specifically, who I'm talking to, but I think much like narcissists, we grew up in the same dynamic where we were told certain things. We were convinced and instilled that doing certain things a certain way, this is what happens when you do this, this is what happens when you do that. And now, being awakened as empaths, we know that 95% of the things that we have been taught has really not been for the benefit of us. It's been for the benefit of others. As an awakened empath and chosen ones, you realize now that your life has a greater purpose. It has a purpose that's outside of the normal thinking. And so you no longer orchestrate the lie. You focus on the authentic truth. Wherever you find it at, wherever it may be, actually you search it out. You search truth out in your everyday life. You despise the lies. We're not talking about perfect human beings. We're not talking about times in which we didn't always tell the truth. Because again, we've been conditioned to do a certain thing a certain way. We've also been conditioned to orchestrate a certain set of operations, if you will, certain type of patterns to yield us the desired results. You were told you go to college, you get a nice degree in education, you'll get a good job, and you'll be set. But we're finding that a lot of people take now content creating, people who've never had a college education. Some have even dropped out of school, and they're multimillionaires creating content. Some of them have went on to invent inventions and different things like that. So they are way ahead of the race, ahead of the pack. So how is that? And not all of them who have become successful became successful because they are authentically truthful people. Well, I guess they were, because even in the orchestrated lie, they are being true to that lie. But this is a bigger point I'm trying to get to, guys. Empaths, chosen ones, we're just organically, authentically truth tellers. As opposed to narcissists, they are, I guess, authentic, orchestrated liars. And that's about the extent of their authenticity, is practicing the art of deception. So it takes a lot more, I think, energy. It takes a lot more I even think brain power to deceive. Well, it could, because you have to do a certain amount of plotting, and the orchestration takes time. Just as orchestrated lies take time and preparation. There's a fair amount of preparation in, just the authenticity, because you practice authenticity just to be more and more authentic to yourself. But the orchestrated lies, you're practicing that more so for other people, because you have to deceive other people into believing you're something you're not. And so my point for bringing this subject up of authentic truth as opposed to orchestrated lies, and all the energy that it takes to try to convince and connive somebody, is the world we're living in. Seek out truth, observe truth, love truth, appreciate truth. And the more you appreciate truth, you'll be able to detect by your just observation that a lot of the things around you, a lot of the people around you that are in your space, whether they be friends or people you just randomly see, you will be able to determine pretty quickly whether they are authentic or is it an orchestrated situation they're putting down, setting up a lie. So their life, if orchestrated lies are a lot of how a lot of us live, because we have to realize that our world of glitz and glamour is just for a time. It's just to consume or entice and draw in the observer, the watchers, the lookers, like you and me. And so when you start looking at the authenticity of things, people, and places, like the trees, the mountains, things that man didn't make by his hands, these are things that are very sustainable. They are things that continue to remain untouched. Whether you water the trees or not, they still grow. You have a few that die here and there, but they're authentically able to do what they do. But a lot of what our foods, it is orchestrated. It is not grown in the way that it was grown in times past. And so when people are behind these type of tactics, there is not much else you have to wonder about that they're doing and orchestrating with regards to their life. They're always putting additives and preservatives in their life, as they are a lot of the products that they entice people like you and me to consume. And so the bigger point to all of this is, we've spent a lifetime pretty much being enticed and convinced that the orchestrated lies were really authentic truths, when really we know the only authentic truth that you can definitely believe in and rely on is the truth in you. And the more you look for truth in you, and you desire truth in you, and you yearn to be the truthful person that you are. I'm not saying tell people all your business or tell people every single thing, good, bad, ugly, indifferent, or whatever about you. Just relish truth, love truth, embrace truth in the way that you know truth can serve you, can sustain you, can help you serve others, and it can sustain the society we live in. Because the orchestrated lies, they're falling apart at the seams. You see with social media, you see with cameras everywhere, a lot of things are being exposed. And I said I'd talk about that in the next video, so why not now? This is that next video. A lot of the cameras are catching all the unethical, erroneous business practices. It's catching people with lots and lots of money, power, position, prestige, and influence. It is exposing them. They're getting caught with their hands in the cookie jar. You know, you take the Robert Brooks situation here in Marcy, New York, 7 miles from my house. If that, maybe a little more. So you take that situation, these individuals, not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, not 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, I believe, 11 correctional officers, all took part in some way, shape, or form in the demise of Robert Brooks. Whether they just sat there and did nothing and allowed others to do what they did, or they took part in it physically themselves. Out of 11 correctional officers, there was not one officer that realized that the cameras were on as they were doing this. And this is how the narcissists become so bold at what they do. And again, their orchestrated lies, they went through the ranks of the correctional officer training, school, whatever they have to do. They took an oath. I'm sure they swore an oath to do the best ethical job that they knew how. But their conscience wasn't their guide. See, if your conscience is void of feeling, remorse, raw emotion, authentic empathy, you don't have an off switch. You have nothing to go from to. Empaths, we can go from where we were to where we want to be and where we believe we should be in a good way. Narcissists have nowhere to go to. They can go from where they are, but what are they going to go to? They have nowhere to go. Because the reason why you may say, well, yeah, they can change, they have somewhere to go to, but understand this, they are void of conscience. A healthy conscience, anyway. They're void of this, so if you're void of that, that pretty much dwarfs any potential for you to go from to. Because what happens is it is interrupted. If they were to think about the error of their ways and say, man, I need to change my evil ways, what do I, and just like I said, something clips that conversation in their head. They don't have these conversations. That's introspecting. They don't do this. And so for them not to introspect, they can't come to a point of change. And so what they have done, they have adopted orchestrated lies. They have orchestrated the art of lying. While all your life, when you were in the bubble of the matrix and believing you were doing your very best to be the very best that you could, under the tutelage of whoever was around you, having you believe that these things would serve you, even then you still were being authentic to that. Only difference now is we're having to unlearn our approach to the things that we did in times past. We don't really have to rearrange the furniture in our life. We just kind of have to realize that a lot of the things in our life we don't really even need. And so we do not a rummage sale of our life. We do what you call just a rehab. We rehab or rehabilitate through things that we've been taught as opposed to things that we know to be true, based on a certain set of factors: observation, education, vibration, elevation. So all of these things are important. Pay attention to the things around you. Pay attention to the way other people move. Pay attention to their motives. And when I say pay attention to their motives, you have to observe them, and their motives will be clear. That being said, bless.